From controversy over ghost names to immediate suspension of the central management system over the integrity of the digital postings platform for national service personnel, what is next? Like I mentioned this morning, we're delving into the national service scheme and the efforts being made to sanitize the institution. Kojo Brace and I are here to steer the conversation, and our guest in studio this morning is the Deputy Director of the National Service Authority, Mr. Donko Hussaini. He joins us in studio for a brief conversation. And your appointment, I hear, is expected to bring a wealth of experience in governance, administration, so many accolades, I hear. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How's the transition been from DCE to Deputy Director General of a big institution like the NSA?
Well, I would say it feels a bit intimidating because, but then it also feels like an expanded form of duties or something, because I was in Sechafram Plains. That place was more of an agrarian area. I'm always on the field, on the move. Then I get appointed to this place and placed in charge of operations as well. So apart from the postings that is keeping me at the desk, a lot of my work happens to do with projects that I need to move around the country to revive most of our farms and projects. So,
and this time you have to stay put and watch computers.
I know the National Service across Ghana, and you're on a MasterCard Foundation project.
Yeah, that's true.
Could that be the reason why they thought that former DC of Afram Plains, possibly the hub of Agric, could serve as a better DG in charge of operations?
Okay, so the truth of the matter is that His Excellency the President sees beyond what some of us or all of us mostly can see. And yes, Sechafram Plains was a very good area. It brought a lot of experience into my political life. But then, like you rightly said so, the President's vision now is to feed Ghana. And the Feed Ghana project means a lot of institutions have to lead that project that he can properly coordinate. And in the agencies under His Excellency the President, I think Minister of Agric, if you take out Minister of Agric, it is the National Service Authority that has more farms than any other institution. But unfortunately, over the years, I think most of the farms were abandoned.
Really?
Yeah, if you go to Kumawu, for instance, we had acquired 20,000 acres of land there for development into farms. It was left, at least about 2,000 was developed. It was never cropped. But then now, we have been able to revive it. We have developed about 4,000. We are currently planting almost 1,000 acres of maize currently on that particular project. GIDA is also developing irrigation dams for us so that we can expand more.
GIDA?
Yes, that is a Ghana Integrated Irrigation Development Authority.
Okay.
Then, if you go to Ejura, we had 1,000 acres of land there. We left it, it was encroached on. We came to meet only 200 acres available. Even that day when we got there was a tractor on the 200 about to start work. We had to fight with them and stop them before we take possession. So now we've cropped the 200 acres at Ejura as well. We've planted maize there. We've done 300 at Donkron Kwanta, 2,500 acres at Amantin. We lost that one to encroachers because by the time we got there, they've started farming. Everything. But then they've been told to vacate. So once they harvest their produce, they are leaving it for us. And then the MasterCard Foundation is also doing 100-acre tomato at the Abotentry area. We are doing another 200 acres of tomatoes at Yape, as I speak to you now. Damango, we are planted 130 acres of maize. We are currently doing 600 acres of maize at Karaga. And then another 200 maize at Janga in the northeast, and then 600 acres of rice.
Oh, okay.
We are doing 500 acres of rice at Abotentry as well. And then Upper West is also now coming on stream. They're also trying to do another 400 acres.
All under the MasterCard?
No.
Okay.
So MasterCard is only doing the tomatoes and then the poultry project.
Okay.
If you go to our Papao farms right now, initially we were supposed to do 300,000 acres. That is under the previous administration. But unfortunately, when the best came, the agency or the authority had not provided the poultry houses yet. So they were forced to give them to private anchor farmers. But then when we came and the second cycle came, within these 4 months, we've been able to construct at least 20,000 capacity poultry house. That was where we hosted the first 10,000 that we've even finished selling already.
Oh, okay.
Now we are expanding to 80,000 currently to be able to do that. Yeah.
So you use the service personnel to do all of this?
Yeah, so what we do is that we get volunteers that we pay, and then some of the service personnel who have a Greek background, they're also trained under the program. So under the MasterCard program, you train them, then when they master it, and then you set them up. That is under the MasterCard project. So mostly the service personnel are mostly on the tomato farms and then the poultry side.
So were these all done through the platform that you used to operate on? If I am applying to serve, would I have to indicate that I want to be part of the people who serve on the farms?
Yeah, so the volunteers mostly, during the postings, we post most of our Greek students to our Greek projects.
Okay.
Yeah, that one is done during the postings easily. Once the person indicates that he did a Greek engineering and all those stuff, likelihood, and then depending on the availability of facilities, you post them there. But then after the service, some of them opt. That one is voluntary.
Okay.
That, okay, listen, I want to continue on your farm as a volunteer. So you continue paying the person whilst engaging the person on the farm.
So now that I hear you've suspended that particular platform, what led to the suspension? And now that you've done it, how are you going to go about it?
Okay, so this is the clarification. The CSMP, that is the Central Management Platform. Yes, you could say suspended, pending review. What it means is that this current system, we cannot use it to post. But then it doesn't mean personnel cannot register.
Okay.
You can still register. The system is still running. What is happening is that the DG, the Attorney General, and the IT experts from the presidency are reviewing all the protocols within the system.
Okay.
Now, to make sure that ghost names and all those things, that the suspicions around the whole system, the only thing that is up for discussion is the metric. Okay. Like if I put in my name, my Ghana card, there should be a way to authenticate that this Ghana card has not been used by Suti or has not been used by another person. And Donko is also using the same thing. So the conversation or the argument is that that particular system is still being used. But then I think the miscommunication that went out there is that from 2018 to 2024, we were not using solely Ghana card.
Okay.
So people were using other forms of identification.
Okay.
But then now, the only form of identification is the Ghana card.
Oh, okay.
So even if you miss one letter on your Ghana card and you enter wrongly just one letter on the system rejects it. Because
does that explain why we hear some of the ghost names used cards other than the Ghana card?
Yes. Yes, because if you use the Ghana card, immediately our system goes straight to the Ghana card, Ghana NIA portal, which confirms that, okay, this Ghana card is correct. And it brings out the exact name on the card.
Okay.
So if you, the one inputting, you input a wrong figure or a wrong letter, immediately our system shuts you out.
Okay.
So I think that is the miscommunication that happened, and then there was a banter, and I think the presidency came in and said, listen, do the right thing.
So you are saying that now without a Ghana card, I cannot register?
No, not at all.
Who has control over the back end? Because I read that the back end was still being controlled by the developer of the app. Who has control of the back end?
Yeah, so National Service Authority contracted the developer to develop it for us. Only, let's say, about few people have access to the system. That is, if the school wants to upload their data, we grant them access to upload all the names and index numbers. It goes to the director of deployment. He does all the verifications. Then he forwards it to me. So I have to now check one by one and see all the names and all the figures that were brought out correct. Then I will approve that, okay, Legon has submitted, let's say, 21,000 names. Director General, I've gone through it, I've vetted it, and I'm approving them for your action. So it now goes to the Director General to also now generate the Ps for this number. Okay, so the director says, I've uploaded, let's say, 132,000 names now. I've vetted all of them. I've approved all the schools. Mind you, schools that are not accredited by GTEC cannot be approved.
Yeah, okay. So at what point do these 3,500 graduates from about 22 schools, at what point in these processes that you just outlined, did they get booted out? So
our point is to take the names of schools that are accredited and candidates that have completed successfully their academic calendar, or let's say have graduated. So between the school and our inputting their names, if GTEC says this particular school, Joy News, your accreditation has expired, it means that particular students coming from that Joy News school cannot be asked to go and do their service until the clearance is done. National service, we don't, excuse me to say, concern ourselves with accreditation because that is not our job. But the moment GTEC writes to us and say, Joy News accreditation has expired, it means the candidates coming from Joy News are not yet ready or qualified for national service.
Does the, what's it called, PUSAC, the Private University Students Association, do they have this understanding? Have there been a formal communication? Because they're criticizing you over the, withholding the registration about 3,000. They say 3,600, but another portal reports 3,500. How many actually?
Yeah, so there could be disparities in the figures because of the names that are submitted. The school could submit, let's say, 1,005. Maybe some students who are deferred were not maybe part yet. So the numbers can always vary.
So but they have very big issues with you.
Yes, they are genuine.
Yes, they haven't had any formal response.
So the point, that is why I'm trying to explain that it is not the mandate of the National Service Authority to be checking accreditations of schools. That is GTEC. Unfortunately, these students were caught up in the web, or let's say in the crossfire, because the students, it's not their business to go and be checking whether the school is accredited or not. The school just says, okay, we are accredited. Come and pay your fees, we'll train you. They went and paid their fees. Mind you, it's part of the fees that is supposed to be used for accreditation. So on the part of GTEC, yes, I cannot hold forth for GTEC, but then I think GTEC has also not been fair to the students because this thing should have been communicated before even our processes started.
What happens to them now?
So the only window of opportunity for the students is that they can apply as privates. But then they cannot do it in the name of the school, en bloc.
Okay.
And it's a bit strenuous. But
so if they apply as private, they have that opportunity?
Yes, of course. You have an opportunity for private, like you go and do your, let's say you go to a private school, maybe you skipped the national service this particular year, next year you want to do, you can enroll as a private candidate.
Okay.
And you'll be allowed. But then what we really want is, at least from now to 30th of June, there's a window of opportunity. So the schools still have a chance to resolve some of the issues with the GTEC and get the students. We have all their data in our system. That was how come we're able to flag them anyway. So once GTEC gives us the clearance that, listen, it has been resolved, their school has been accredited, immediately we roll them on.
Mr. Donko, the National Service Scheme and Authority have been a hot spot for news stories this entire year. It goes even as far back as last year, when the same Manasseh Azuri investigative journalist brought about this scandal about ghost names. You've just assumed office as Deputy Director of Operations. Tell me, what are the gaps that you've identified, for which reason we keep coming back to the national? So give me a comprehensive assessment of what you have seen that has been done, that you think you are going to do differently. Then we can begin to see where the loopholes are that we can plug.
I think the truth of the matter is that when my Director General and my sister Ruth took office, they went first before me. They started somewhere in February, before I got in around late March. So the first thing they did was to stop the use of all other forms of identifications, then rely solely on the Ghana card. So that immediately weeded out a lot of the fake IDs that were being used. So if you look at the figures now, you see that consistently from 2022, from 211,000, it has been coming down. Now it's around 132,000.
As in those who are already on it now?
Yes, those who have been...
132,000.
Yes, that is what we are registered now. Even including the ones that have been suspended.
Okay.
So, one, the Ghana card is playing a very key role. Now, the second option is that the central management system now tracks and reports on every activity of every officer that goes in there. So, for example...
That didn't exist before?
No. The traces were not easily identified. But now, if I go in, at the time I went in, the activity that I did, once we go back again, it reports everything that happened. Donko came in at this particular time. He approved A, B, C, D. If I go in again and do anything, he came in at this particular time. He changed this. So now the system is able to do that. So it leaves prints for everything that you do there. If the director of deployment uploads this number of schools, and he has to upload the physical letterhead of the school as well. So when I go in there for the approval, what I do is I look at the numbers that have been given. Then I go and look at the number on the letterhead from the school signed by the registrar. If the registrar says, I brought in 15,000 students from Legon, if I go through the list, I should be able to see exactly 15,000 students. Anything more, I have to query the registrar to explain to me why there was an addition.
So I mean, look, you are saying that now a lot of you have access to the back end. Because initially
not all of us have the access.
Not all of you,
yes.
But at least you've mentioned
the DG, myself, Director of Deployment, and then the developer. And then the MIS, yeah.
So 5 people have access to the back end.
Yes.
So it means that if there should be any ghost name in the system tomorrow, these 5 people should be.
If there is any ghost name, like I said, if Legon registrar or whoever is in Legon, we give him access to upload the names, and he uploads more than what is on the letterhead, the system now reports that, okay, at this time, Legon uploaded this number of people at this particular time. Finish. So when anybody else goes to put any addition to the Legon names, the computer reports to us that, okay, at this particular time, Donko Fuseni also went in and added this number to the number from Legon.
It wasn't so.
It wasn't so.
Now, as I sit here, my Ghana card, physically, I've misplaced. I can't find it.
Wow.
What I do have is the
soft copy.
Exactly.
Good.
So if I go to the bank and they ask for Ghana card, I only pull my phone and give them the soft copy.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable?
Once you input the numbers,
okay,
it will pull out your whole detail.
Oh, okay. So you don't require the physical card?
No, it's not a physical card.
It's the number you
What
want.
happens after the card is that we also take a physical picture. So even if you are using your phone to do the registration, at a point, we will require you to use that same phone to take a picture of yourself. So the moment you open and you are taking a picture of yourself, we get your live biometrics at that moment where you are.
Okay.
So that is where the system captures it. So it's not that you go and take a passport picture and scan it.
Okay.
No. Whilst you are registering, it gets to a point, the final point is that if you are using a laptop, we'll ask you to take a picture.
With a laptop?
With a laptop.
Okay.
So once you open and you are taking that picture, the system is able to detect whether you are a robot or you are entering for somebody.
Okay.
Because at that moment, we require the physical presence of the person.
So if I don't have a Ghana card at all, because we know there are some people who don't have, what can that person do?
Seriously, I'm sorry for you.
You can't say.
No.
No, sincerely speaking, without a Ghana card, it will be difficult for you.
Okay.
Because that is how we've built the system. Now it is either your Ghana card or you are not ready for a deployment this year.
The service is voluntary. We want to get some of our graduates. We want to get all our graduates to go and serve.
Now it's not voluntary. Now it's still mandatory.
Yes. Maybe I use the wrong word. It's mandatory.
Yeah.
So if I've completed university or any tertiary institution and I don't have a Ghana card, I am mandated to do my service. And you're saying that you're putting an impediment
I'm just
on my way.
with you.
Okay.
This same time that you are having after your school, just go and do your Ghana card. Okay. It will save all of us the stress.
Right.
So this facial thing you're talking about, was it there previously?
Okay, so previously you could use your passport, you could scan and add, but now I think from 2024, that was where we started the facial. But then still, because the Ghana card was not the only form of identification, you could scan your picture and add. But this time around, we don't accept scanned pictures.
The machine has to.
The machine has to take you.
So that's how you're weeding out.
Yes.
Okay.
So it takes you real-time pictures.
Okay.
Something you said, and I have to take you back to the NSS ghost names.
Yeah.
You said that you were given an example, and you said, for example, if Legon onboards 1,000 people, nobody can go on now and add because the system tracks. First of all, I'm surprised that even Google Docs has that. Anyone who enters, you can see that someone came. I'm surprised that they had a whole central management system portal and you couldn't track, but that's aside. That's aside. Does it mean that in this scandal that we are seeing, the universities have been exculpated? They can't be blamed for what we are seeing right now in terms of the ghost names?
Previously,
because you said that's what we are doing now, which means it wasn't done.
Previously, some of them were culpable. Previously, some of them were overloading, or maybe somebody was mischievously loading on their behalf.
But you couldn't track.
So now, what has happened is that if I give access or grant access to, let's say, sorry, I'm using Legon so much. If I grant access to Legon, that, okay, your letterhead has gotten to me that you have this number of people, so upload them for me. So they just upload the total list of all their students, their index numbers, their names, their courses they offered and everything. So they load all their data into our system. So once they are done, they are out. Then we take over. So once we take over, the director of deployment now checks to see all the index numbers are correct. They match the people, they are like verification of all the names and everything.
So this director of employment, which is that an office on its own, or it falls under your?
It falls under
your
yes.
office.
He reports. Yes, he reports to me.
Go on. I want to understand.
Yeah. So the director of deployments now, after vetting all the numbers and say, okay, Legon brought this number. This is their letterhead. So he pushes them to me for approval. I'm the only person who can approve that. Okay, Legon, I've approved your school. You can now go into the system after the numbers have been generated to go and register. Without my approval, you can go there now. Now the pins have been released. Without your school being approved, you can go there to register. Once you key in your index number, it will tell you pending. So then it means your school has not yet been approved.
Right. So are we right in, not right, does it make sense then that the names that are coming up as those who have created some sort of cabal or syndicate to be putting ghost names there so they can siphon money for their own personal gains? Are we right in saying that the names that are coming up are actually the people who were, and the Director General? I was reading Manasseh, Suleiman Abraham. Have you seen that? He explained how it is a service provider who he created a service and gave it to you. You are the ones at the back end who see everything. So the names that are coming up, Gift Wari and the rest, were they? Is it right to say they were the ones in charge?
So like I said,
overseeing this crime.
Like I said, if you look at the processes very well, from the director of deployment, the MIS director also is in charge of the system operating. So the MIS director, the director of deployment, the operations, he does the approval. Then the DG generates the pins. Do you get it? And then it comes back again. The director of operations assigns all the things that have been approved and say, okay, listen, pins have been generated, they have been approved, you can now assign.
So someone ought to have seen at some point.
All the three directors can see.
Okay, so why are we not talking about the just passed director?
He's been indicted, he's been picked up.
I must have missed that.
Oh yeah, Osasibe is also standing trial. No, sorry, it's under investigations actually. Yeah, even Honorable Yusuf Mustafa is also under investigation. He
has written that
think
he's willing to go
Gifty
to court to defend himself.
is so much out there because of some of the technicalities involved. Because she was Director, Finance and Administration, as Madame Ruth Sedo is now. She actually oversees the personnel allowances and emoluments and all those stuff.
All right.
So
let me make this quick.
We
are opening the phone lines for you to call us just for 10 minutes or so. The phone number is on your screen, 0302-211-691. Call us. If you have a question, make it straight to the point. Don't listen to us on your TV set. Speak to us directly on your mobile phones. Let's get all your questions answered for you, please.
Yeah, so like the delays in the release of allowances, the investigation shows that at a point they were using the allowances as collateral for loans and all. So it was more of the financial issues that had to do with her actually. And then most of the vendors were also like people who were using supply, because it had to be people that had to generate their fake IDs and fake names for you. So that was how come, and because she was so loud, I think that is how come the media is always almost about her. But then the final approval most at times comes from the Director General. In their case, the Executive Director.
All right, so we have our first caller. Indulge me. Hi, Dennis, calling us from Kumasi. What's your question?
Yes. Okay, so good morning to you all. Please, my question is, one, should those who are applying for the NSS court and wait for further notice? Then two, we want to...
Didn't get the question.
You're saying those who've been told to wait for further notice. What about it?
I'm asking if they should still halt and wait for further notice.
Okay.
No.
Let him finish.
Okay.
Yeah. Go on.
Then two, the issue about scandal and we are in Ghana. We urge our leaders that no matter what, if she is the Director of Finance and Administration, probably she was spearheading that. But going into it in detail, you could see that there were maybe bigger people who were using her. So we urge them. We are here, but we are also watching them.
All right, Dennis. Thank you for calling. So he's asking, those who've been told to wait till further notice, should they still wait?
No, but is it the 3,500 people?
Yeah, this year, I think those who are,
Yes, for them, until the school sorts things out with the GTech, we cannot proceed with their registration.
Okay.
They cannot register at all until it's sorted out.
So this year, there's no chance they...
As for the review, the review will go on concurrently with the registration. So you can still register. It's just that once there's a detection that, okay, change this particular metric or change this particular app, immediately it will be updated. So it doesn't concern the personnel's registering now at all. The review doesn't concern them. They should continue with their registration.
All right, Kojo.
Well, I know we have Charles from Kumasi. Charles, how are you? Let's have your question.
Thank you very much, Kojo. My concern has to do with students who... My concern has to do with the students who actually went to, let's say, the private school.
Okay.
I mean, those that the institution has not been accredited. And it is the responsibility of the GTech to ensure that these institutions are accredited. So I want to find out what preventive measures is against this GTech institution.
because they are also paid by taxpayers' money. Why would somebody go to school after 3 or 4 years and then he wants to do national service and then somebody's inability to execute his tax? You are telling the person that you cannot actually do service. I think that we are not being fair to ourselves, and the institutions must be actually held responsible.
Okay.
The way we are building the country, people must actually be held responsible when they fail to execute what is expected of them.
Okay. All right.
We cannot actually be shifting blames to one another, causing people in pain.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for calling. We appreciate your call. Thank you.
But Donko, once there is, I mean, nowadays there's a lot of clemency coming out from the presidency.
Yeah.
Can these, because like he said, and you have also said that earlier, that it's not fault of the student.
That is true.
Why must they be punished?
They are not being punished. That's why I told you
that they can.
Yes, roll on as private candidates.
I get it now.
Yes,
This
that is yes,
This year?
yes.
Oh, then I think we should just have a formal communication.
No, but then
let them know.
Yes, but that is why. But then you also see that way the institutions escape their responsibilities. So I think GTech is not after the students. GTech is with the some of them are huge.
Okay.
Some are into 200, some about 100 and something. A lot of them.
Okay.
Some are very popular universities, and some of them too, you could see that they started the process, but they've not completed. So maybe somebody is just sleeping on the job.
Let's usher in Isaac now. Isaac, talk to us.
Good morning, Sweetie and Kojo and your panelists. I would want to ask 2 quick questions. First one, we're hearing the issue about the scandal and all that went into it. We didn't hear anything about reposting, but I know that that goes there as well, where people are sent to some place to have their service, and then some personnel within the scheme or authority who have their postings changed. I want to find out who actually is in charge. How does that, if somebody is able to change the posting, at what point is that able to happen? And then the second one, you heard about all the mistakes that went on in the former administration. Can we know any initiatives that they brought, things that we didn't know happened with the national service and your set and some other things that happened under this administration that were novelty or things that we hadn't seen before that we have or can access now as personnel?
All right, Isaac. Thank you. I think you actually touched on that.
Yeah.
That is now you have the system can track who's entered and not. But please go ahead.
But the reposting, yes, that is also mostly under my department. Yes, so there are 3 or 2 categories of people we consider for reposting. Initially, when we are posting, we post you to we try to at least achieve 100% of the regions that you chose. So, for example, if you choose Ashanti region as your first region, we try to deploy you into Ashanti region. But then at times, we don't have control over the districts because maybe you did marketing or maybe human resource, and we are sending you to government institutions. Maybe the government institutions in one particular district, or let's say KMA, if it is full, we fall to Asokwa and the rest. So that is what happens to us. So let's say we take you from Kumasi to maybe my former district, Drobonso. If you are a nursing mother, we can easily say, okay, maybe this was an oversight. So we repost you back to a place that is closer to your baby.
Okay.
Let's say.
But it sounds like some people are being moved around without their notice, or
No, you cannot be moved around without your notice.
He said someone goes into the system to change the posting.
No, reposting is only at the request of the personnel. Yes. Okay. You can't do reposting on behalf of somebody if he has not requested. Because once the person goes to where he has been posted or she has been posted and registered there, the person has been validated there. Okay. So you can't move the person again. Okay. If you move the person, it becomes like the person has abandoned post. So your allowances will not go.
Okay.
So nursing mothers, disability, and then critically ill people. They are the people that we do reposting for.
Okay. Let's usher in Abdul. Abdul, good morning. What's your question?
Good morning. Good morning. I want to ask, I have a problem with my Ghana card. The date of birth on my Ghana card is different from the date of birth that the school I'm having in the school. So I wanted to know how
Cite twice now.
That's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Even if I plead with the computer, it will not accept. that's the
Can you not
difficult.
go to
So the only option now is to go to NIA for them to correct it immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the moment you input it, your school has submitted your data. Maybe during the submission of the data, you should have given what is on the Ghana card to the school. Do you get it?
Okay.
But once the school submits a different data, like I said, even if it's missing by one letter, the system will not accept you.
Okay.
So it's quickly he goes to the NIA office to rectify it. Or, in fact, the school even resending a different thing will be strenuous now. The only option is the NIA.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm sorry, but it will be difficult.
All right. We also hear that there's some military training coming up. That people are.
I'm surprised you never asked.
You know, the first batch is set to. Yeah.
What come to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are starting the. Excuse me, because of I don't want to fall into trouble with the Chief of Defense Staff. So let me use the right word.
Okay.
People have been saying military training, but the right word, according to the military, is the military orientation.
So it's not training.
It is not training, because if you say military training, ouch.
That's
That's a
so
whole
they won't go through the mammoth of training that they're
No.
Okay.
You are not doing all the. No, you are not going to be shooting guns. You are not going to be
Then what
sleeping
do you
in
need
the
6 weeks
jungle.
for orientation?
So, you see, this is where I think the military is also not helping us. Because all we know about their training is that they put them in the jungle without food, small water. That's all we all know. But it will shock you to know they go into report writing, they do communication skills, emergency care, basic things we do in the university. They do a lot of them there as well. So until we also got close and they gave us the whole model, we thought it was all about salutation and the rest. So, yes, what we are trying to take them through is actually, one, discipline, time management, most importantly, emergency response preparedness.
Okay.
If it's voluntary.
For now, it's voluntary.
Okay, because the
But
question was
subsequently, it's going to be mandatory.
Okay.
Now, because we are starting, we want to be sure of what we are doing. So the military installations, training centers in the country can take 5,000. We are falling on another university in the country to also give us a facility that can take another 5,000. So this year, this August, we are doing 10,000 as pilots. Then we roll it out, look at all the training models, how it affects them, what is their psyche. Then after that, we deploy them, monitor them, and see their outputs. Then when we see the results, then we can now say, okay, now it becomes mandatory for everybody.
What's the goal?
The goal is to, one, train them in emergency response preparedness. Two, build a very disciplined, patriotic youth. And then three, make them more productive. Because once they are able to manage their time well and be disciplined, and mind you, like I said, even communication is going to be taught there. So once all those things, like they are equipped with that extra activity from the school, at least every graduate at least can turn around, but then extra skills can help you.
Tell us exactly how military orientation will boost patriotism.
Yes, so...
and it's only 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. The truth of the matter is that these are graduates, or let's say intellectuals. So their ability to process information is faster than maybe what my grandmother would do in the village. What we are adding to them now is the basic skills of time management, how to discipline, how to respond to situations, how to be able to take decisions on your feet at a go. Like, let them know there is something out there in the world. Because normally it is actually right from school to maybe Joy FM, you are posted to do your service. So between Joy FM and the school, nobody tells him, listen, if you go to Joy FM, this is how you behave. This is how you talk to your seniors. This is how you talk to your superiors. This is how you act on the job. This is how you report to time. So this is something just to prepare them properly so that at least productivity can be enhanced. So for me, it is about letting them know life out there is not just about from the book to the
so
to your allowance.
Here because there are, I mean, many people will tell you these days that the Ghanaian isn't as patriotic as our forefathers, you know, and there are a lot of productive people, successful people who aren't patriotic. What you're explaining sounds like training these people to have a corporate sense of doing things, you know, how to translate your ideas into communication and all that. But when it comes to patriotism, I don't see the link, so help me out.
So, yes, that is why we chose the military, because if there is any institution that is the most patriotic in this country, it is the military. And we believe if they're able to build that sense of patriotism into this 6 weeks, mind you, it's not a joke. And it's not as if they will go to the training and come back home. They are spending the entire 6 weeks with them.
So, and you are sure some will not come out hating the country even more than loving it?
I'm not so sure.
No,
because I have mates that, excuse me to say, were so unrefined, but then find themselves in the military, and now they are like the most gentlemen you can ever meet. Oh, that is it. You may be the roughest person, but go to the military and come back.
But they are military people, right?
Yes.
You said they are not going to go through the entire training as a military.
Yes.
When so you are subjected to military training.
They are not being trained. They are not being trained to become military personnel.
Yes,
that is true. But then they are taken through some basic military orientation to know that this is how it's done here.
Okay.
But then anybody with interest who want to pursue a career in the military with this particular training background, you have a competitive advantage over your peers.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
well, let's see. But it sounds or looks like we are trying to do what the Nigerians do.
Well, I think most countries are doing it now. But then, if you cast your mind back, Ghana was doing it. When we had the young pioneers, the scouts, and all those, like, those times, things were a bit different than now. Okay. Like you said, if even the national anthem is being played, you see people on their phone, people walking up, and not even standing up. But those days back in school, even farmers going to farm, when we were playing our national anthem, they had to stop until we finished before they cross and go. So those are some of the things that used to be brought back.
I remember when we were in basic school, our school was such that the people who were coming from Agona Fie to Agona Nkwanta would definitely use the school park. Yeah. And when we are playing the anthem, you see everybody stop in their tracks. It was.
Now, we are losing that gradually. And I think the best ambassadors for that will be our graduate youth.
You sure?
I'm sure.
So when these youth go for this training you're talking about and they hear the anthem being played, they'll stop.
You can't go for even 1 month military training and come back and your life will be the same.
Okay. We'll put this time out.
Yes, time will tell.
Evaluate them and see.
It looks like there's some reform going on both at NSA and NSS. Tell us exactly, in a comprehensive way, summarize what these reforms are, and then we can also follow you as you materialize.
Yeah, so now it is one. NSA is now one. There's no more NSS.
Okay, so we have a National Service Authority
now.
Great.
So now we are able to, on our own, even like take facilities like loans, grants, and all the rest into projects that can benefit, especially
like the farms.
Yes. So that is why MasterCard Foundation, in partnership with us, we are engaging in this project at Papawo Farms.
Okay, so that's it. Reforms.
Yeah. So that is one. Aside that, we are also now going into training programs. So we are doing the online, like the Hubtel. No, sorry, not Hubtel. The
Hubs.
The Hubs, yeah. Okay. So a lot of our personnel are also now involved in the coding and all those outsourcing of information. We train most of the personnel in that as well. Okay. Aside that, Get Fund is also now going to partner NSA to develop poultry farms in all secondary schools across Ghana.
Okay, brilliant.
Yes,
brilliant.
And then aside that, apart from the 100,000 broilers we are doing at Papawo, we are going to expand that into 5 different regions.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. But how many names have you added so far?
To the national service.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, what we call ghost names.
I didn't see that one coming. I didn't see that one coming. But you can see a ghost.
Hussein Donko is Deputy Director of Operations at the National Service Authority, and he joined us this morning for an exclusive conversation on the AM show. Before we go, the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management Ghana presents the CIHRM 2025 conference on June 18th to 19th, 2025 at Alisa Hotel right here in Accra. The theme is Regulating HRM in Ghana, Standards, Ethics, Sustainability. These are the conference rates. Members are paying 3,200 Ghana cedis, non-members 4,000 Ghana cedis. Student members will pay 2,000 Ghana cedis. Now, you can register via the CIHRM website or at CIHRM Ghana on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on X. If you want to call for group registrations and discounts, call this number, 0243 278 694. CIHRM, transforming work and workplaces. Kojo?
Well, let me talk to you about DTI, because if you're looking to do things differently, to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market, then I have good news for you, because statistics show that it's tough out there for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. Doing things differently is what you have to be doing, and that's what Design and Technology Institute is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication to design innovation, including graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, among others, and entrepreneurship. Our programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson, BTech, and CTVET. So you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere across the globe. So if you are ready to do things differently and chart your path, check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admission or call us 0541 693534 for more information. DTI, we say we are the best place for you to chart your path.
Well, we'll take a quick break. When we return, there's more action, there's more, like an hour more on the AM show with us. Please stay. Thank you so much.